Hello, good morning, welcome back to the Fish Locker out on the boat. We have a Brahma of a morning this morning. It's nice in here, but it might not be offshore. Got a few things that we're up to today. The first thing I'm doing is I'm going to run the first fleet of pots off for this year. Then, hopefully find some bait, run off to a couple of wrecks, then, conditions being right, maybe put the anchor down into a bank. Yeah, so a mixed day. I'm just switching up what's going on through the day, depending on what the tide's doing and what the conditions are up to. That might all evolve as we're doing it, we've just got to try and figure it out. Just wish me luck. Let's go! We have reached the first wreck that I want to try. What I'm going to be doing first of all, I'm going to be drifting over these wrecks with lures, with soft plastic, with something like that. And I'm going to be fishing them on a long flowing trace of about 8 foot. 8 foot of 20 pound fluoro, and I'll fish them on a 3-way. So I'll rig it all up and I'll show you, but I'm going to be fishing on here for pollock. Now we've just come to the end of their breeding season, so they're all spawned out, and my freezer is empty. I've come to the wreck that I want to fish on, and I've stopped the engine about maybe 50-60 metres away from it, and I'm seeing which way the boat is going to drift, because we've got a couple of things acting on me. You've got the tide going in a certain direction and a wind going in a certain direction, and you never know which way it's going to make the boat go. So it's always good. The first drift you kind of consider that as being a sacrificial drift, just to see where the boat's going to go. Give it a couple of 3 minutes, see which way it's going, then you can steam around that side of the wreck, kill the engine and drift over it. Now the tackle I'm using, if people have watched our pollocking videos before, this will be teaching you how to suck eggs, but for anybody that hasn't seen it, the gear that I use, and I prefer to use, is a Regiment 3 solid carbon, a pen rod, and it's a 12 to 20, and this is a Fathom 15 lever drag. The reason why I like a lever drag for this is because you can increase and decrease how heavy the drag is really quickly, whereas when you've got a star drag, sometimes it can be a bit fiddly. All you want for this is a rod with a lot of flex in it. Because pollock, when they hit the lure, they dive, they crash, they want to be away like. So you need a rod with some give, and also, like I say, that helps being able to play with the drag a little bit. I've got 2 minutes now. We're almost laid round, so I know which way we're going to go. This is one of my traces. Keep it on a winder. On one end I just have a little 3-way swivel like that, so it spins around a bit like a helicopter rig. And one of the reasons why I like fluoro is not only is fluoro practically invisible underwater, but also you see how all this is all kinked up because it's been on a winder. If that was mono, you'd never get them kinks out, but with fluoro all you need to do is you just pull it between your fingers. Don't pull it so hard that you burn yourself. But there, look, that's just hangs limp now. All that trace that was all coiled up is now nice and straight. Onto the bottom of my 3-way swivel, I've just got a fast link. The reason why I like a fast link is so that you can quickly increase or decrease the weight of lead depending on how much you need. And then all I'll do is I'll go straight onto a swivel like that. So the whole setup is, and I'll explain why I do this as well. I have 40 pound braid. It's a low diameter braid, it's strong enough just so it cuts through the tide. Then I have a 50 pound, oh I tell you what, I've just seen some go past the boat. They're really interesting them. Oh, there's stacks of them. See if I can't fish a couple of them out. I'll show you them in a second, but yeah, there's something just drifted past the boat and I'm just seeing loads of them around the boat at the minute. I'll talk about those in a second. But yeah, 40 pound braid, 50 pound leader, and then a weaker trace. If this hook length gets stuck in the wreck, This is the weakest link. This is going to snap. If I come upon any type of wreckage at all, it's likely to be the bottom 15 feet towards the lead. This is why I've got a stronger mono. Mono's got better abrasion resistance than braid, so that's why I put the mono in there. If your lead gets stuck, you're pretty much going to snap. Like, so you've just got to say goodbye to it. There is a really good one. 2 seconds. You see me getting really excited about these. They're not. Some people are like, oh yeah, great, well done. But yeah, I find these fascinating. Yeah, here in the southwest, I'm in Cornwall, and in these areas around here, when we get weather in a certain direction, it can bring things from all the way from like the Bay of Biscay, all the way in the upper Atlantic. These have come from down south, like somewhere warm. And all they do is that when we've had wind in a certain direction, when we've had like a load of consistent winds, it brings these with it. And I'm going to try and fish one of them out for you now. There's tons of them. I can see probably 100. That is a by the wind sailor. Right, got it. That, the reason why I've picked it up like this is because it does have, you see all them kind of like tentacles underneath. That is a by the wind sailor, and they are fascinating, aren't they? A proper ocean going traveller. That sail there just catches the gentle breeze and they drift hundreds if not thousands of miles. I'll give you a couple of geeky facts about these. This is a colony. It's a colonial hydroid, and its Latin name, I like this, it's called Valella valella. There's some Latin names that I remember really well, like Urticina felina is a Dahlia anemone, or Conga conga is a conga. But yeah, these are Valella valella, and I think they are absolutely beautiful. I've said this in videos before, it's not just the fishing. I mean, the fishing is almost an excuse just to bring us to these places. Having an appreciation for every aspect of the ecosystem, of the environment around you, it just increases the pleasure of what you're doing tenfold. These are stunning. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I know which way I'm drifting now, so I'll put this guy back, and then, well, it's not a guy, it's a colony of guys. It's a them. I'll put them back, and we'll get some fishing done. But yeah, these belong to the same type of family as Portuguese men of war. A by the wind sailor, Valella valella, a colonial hydroid. That sounds like a Harry Potter spell. Let's get fishing. Right, after we've finished playing with by the wind sailors, yeah, all I'm going to do is I will just throw the lure out one way, drop the lead the other, and drop it down to the bottom under control. When I say under control, I'm keeping a little bit of pressure on with my thumb. When it gets all the way at the bottom, all I'll do is I'll engage the bail arm and I'll start winding. Just a gradual, steady wind. 10 winds, 20 winds, something like that. If I don't get a bite, I'll drop back down and do it again. I'm starting off with a bigger lure, with a 6-inch lure. If I haven't had anything in a couple of drifts, I might switch to a smaller lure. Oh, there's a fish straight away. Oh! Oh! Oh, I'll tell you what, he's diving. Oh, well, he's going. Tell you what, I wish it happened like that every time. All I'm doing now is I'm just keeping steady pressure on. When it wants to dive, letting it take line. Like now. Whoa. I tell you what, this feels like a decent fish, this. I hope it don't come off. It does feel like a really nice fish. Because you don't know where the fish is hooked. When you're fishing for ling and conger, like you pump and wind, then you lift and then you wind down. With these pollock, because they might only just be really lightly hooked in like the corner of the lip, I'm looking back because I'm recording what I'm seeing on the screen to try and show you. He's absolutely gunning it. Oh my word. Flipping heck. That is an absolute jumbo. Jesus. God. I said it was a big one. My flipping heck, I said it was a big one, didn't I? That is an absolute freaking donkey. Yeah. Well, the lure is right down in there. But that is that first fish, first drop. That's an absolute jumbo. That's got to be, well, over double figures anyway. Well, I said it just kept going and kept going. I said it was a good fish. Yeah, we've my sounder. What I'll do is I'll put a little bit of a screen in here now, and I'll talk about it. This structure on the seabed is the wreck, and all of this yellow is fish hiding behind it. This line is the pollock that I've hooked, and you can see me winding the fish to the surface. The timestamp shows it takes me a little over 3 minutes to bring the fish to the boat. There we are. Never steam straight back over the wreck. I mean, even though I'm in, what, 75 metres of water, you'd never steam straight over the wreck. You steam round it and then drift over it and then round it. Try that again. I'd like to say it works like that every single time. Just check my line. No, we're fine. Yeah, I'd like to say it happens like that every time, but yeah, that was an especially good one. See if we can't get another one. That is an absolute beast of a pollock. Another reason to feather them, to hold your thumb on the spool, is because if something hits it on the way down, you'll feel it. Like we've just been hit there. No, didn't take it. We'd been hit twice then on the way down. And again. That might be smaller fish. Smaller fish banging into it and not taking it. But yeah, you can tell if you pick up a fish on the way down, because it either speeds up or it stops. Now that hit and then it stopped, and I knew I wasn't at the bottom. It was probably just a smaller fish that got hold of the lure but didn't take it all right inside of its mouth. I've come over a slightly different part of the wreck. We're about 15 metres away from where we were the last drift. If we don't get anything on this drift, I'll go back and I'll drift over that other side again. Oh. That's something that you have to try and teach yourself as well. Is that when you get a bite, don't strike. Just keep winding. Because pollock will come up and get hold of your lure, turn round and go straight back to the seabed. They'll hook themselves. If you stop winding or if you try and strike, he'll put them off, or it'll pull it out of their mouth. Somewhat keeps hitting this. I think I've come through a patch of the wreck that's either got a lot of little fish on, or it might even be mackerel. Or I might find that when I bring this lure up, the tail's turned over on it, masking the hook point. Right, we'll pass the wreck now. I'm not marking it anymore on the bottom. I'll bring it up and have a look and see what's going on. Sometimes what can happen is if a little fish comes up and strikes at the tail of it, it can turn the lure over on itself. So the tail of the lure hooks into the hook. So it masks the hook point. But it doesn't matter what bites it after that, it won't hook up. Go around again. That also there, if we'd have had that drift first, if I hadn't have had that big fish first, if we'd have had that drift and I'd have had lots of strikes, like misses, I would have gone down to a smaller lure. Because it might have meant that they were being finicky on the feed, or there were smaller fish, and sometimes a smaller lure can pluck them out. It depends what they're honed in on. If they're used to feeding on fish that are 4 inches long and you put down a 6 or an 8 inch lure, they're not going to look for it. They're looking for the small ones. We are absolutely blessed with the conditions today. What are we looking at? That's a nice drift, that. Oh, there it is. Get up. That one, like I said, hit it as I was dropping it down. I was already part way up, and I'd just taken the bail arm off to drop the lure back down to the bottom when this fish picked it up. Like I was saying, I'd just taken the bail arm off and I had my thumb on it to be able to control it. Just felt it go zzz. Same part of the wreck that we picked up the first one on. So yeah, they're obviously concentrated on that one part of the wreck. So yeah. If your wreck is 100 metres long, doesn't mean that you've got fish 100 metres up it. They might all be concentrated onto like the northeast corner or the southwest corner, or even 20 metres behind it or 20 metres in front of it. So when you come to a new wreck that you want to fish on, if you don't get a fish on the first drift, don't think there's nout there. I would give it a couple of different drifts around different parts of the wreck. What we're looking at, might even get 2 drifts on this one. You see all these blisters in its side? You hear them? It's got them on this side as well, and the reason why his eyes are bulging. Oh look, that's what I'm talking about. If I'd left any slack on that, that guy would have come off. I'll leave him there in that live bait tank and I'll dispatch and bleed him. Yeah, you know how the first fish dove back a few times. It was more controlled. So we'd managed to purge out some of his air. That one there, of course he didn't. His swim bladder's blown and all that bits of air inside of him, so fish like that, when they reach the boat, you couldn't release them even if you wanted to. As it is, I want to keep them because they're delicious. There's a fish. Oh, it's pinged off. That's what I was saying about if the lip hooks, if it's just caught in the corner of the lip, that was obviously just like a lightly hooked fish, and as it dove, it pinged itself off. Can't have the drag too light, just because they'll bolt and go straight in the wreck. Yeah, you win some, you lose some. It's a toss up there about keeping a tight enough drag that you keep them out of the wreck, because they swim up around it. Like Lee and Conger live in it. You need to really bully them out with that tight drag. Pollock, you need to have enough of a drag to slow them down, but not too much that they pop themselves off. Fish has just taken this. Wow, fish hit that on the way down. There's the fish. Oh, slow down. We're right over the wreck as well. Don't really want him to go too far into the wreck. Whoa. It is lovely playing these fish on these lighter rods. Where are you? Get out from under the boat. Nicely hooked, and another absolute cracker of a fish. You cannot fall off with fishing like this, can you? That lure in his mouth. Now look. See that hole that it's made? That gap there that I can get my finger through now? Every single time he dove, that lure worked a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger of a hole. If I'd have been pumping and winding with that fish, he would have come off. That is another 10-pound fish. Now you come up on a bit of a dilemma now, in that I don't want to keep taking too many fish. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go around and I'm going to try that with a jig. I'm going to go and have a little bit of a play with me really, like me super light setup and a jig. But yeah, that is, saw all the rig, everything from start to finish. Just my little, these are, I don't remember the exact name of them. These 3-way swivels, but it's a Cox and Roll swivel. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put the annotation. I just can't remember the exact name of it. 10 odd feet of fluoro, ending in a sidewinder lure. Now this is a Skerry's eel in pearl, but usually what I'll do is I'll try 4 or 5 different colours of lures. That's why I have like different ones with me. So if one colour's not working, I'll use another, or I'll use another. But yeah, first lure that I used just nailed it. 40 grams. I'm going to try a 40 gram jig to start with. Yeah, this is a conflict jigging, and it goes up to, I think it's 200 grams. Yes, it is. Max jig, 200 grams. And this is a little fathom low profile. Now because we're not screaming along, because we're only drifting at about 0.7 knots, I'm going to try it with this tiny jig first. And if it won't reach the bottom, I'll maybe use one of these, either the pink one or like the rainbow one. Because these are heavy, I think these are 120s. But yeah, these are going to be max sport. If you manage to get down to the bottom and get one of them Pollack on these, it's going to be brilliant. Got one. Got one. Brilliant. I knew as soon as I got it, it was quite difficult to get the line all the way at the bottom, just because it's only a really small jig. It's a 40-gram jig, and I'm in 75 metres of water. This fish is at 45 metres. It's a long way up with this little tiny reel, but I tell you what, it is fantastic fun. Look at it. And first couple of runs on it and all, if you get a double figure fish on this, it's just joy. Oh, she's going. Tighten up a little bit. There you are. There's the jig just in the corner of his mouth. And this fish actually should go back. Because I brought him up with a jig, and it was harder to bring him up, so he took more time. He should go back. Oh, good man. Right, let's go around again. I want another go at that. I'm going to try that again with this little tiny one. And which way am I drifting? Yeah, that way. If I can get all the way at the bottom with it, good. The tide's starting to pick up. Yeah. There's a fish, straight away. This doesn't feel like a massive fish, this. So if I can take my time bringing it up, in fact. Tops are on this side. If I can take my time bringing it up, it won't blow and it'll go straight back. Because this is loads of fun. Say, look, it's hooked. I can just hold on it. The way that I can tell there is because if it had started floating to the surface, as in like it had blown, it would be getting lighter and lighter and lighter. But I can hold at points, and this fish isn't coming any higher up. Look there, look. So it's just swimming around. That allows them to like equalise the pressure in them on the way up. The reason why they blow, it's barotrauma. It's the same as when a diver gets the bends. Are you going back or are you staying? There, look. You see, that lets me know that he's still there, that he's not blown. You see there, as I held it and he turned round and went straight back down again. He's at 25 metres. You can see on the sounder. If I'd just winched this to the boat, I could bring it up quicker because it is a smaller fish. But I'm letting him come up slow, almost kind of under his own power. There, look, see how he's going back? If I just wind and brought him straight to the boat, that's when they got all them blisters and when their eyes pop. And you see that pink like balloon in their mouth. That's their stomach, that's their swim bladders blown inside their body. Now with some species you can use a descender. And that's a device to carry them back to the seabed. But when they're blown like that, when they're blistered, when their eyes are popping, they're already gone. Like they're already there. They're already past the point of no return. There, look. There, look. No blisters. No swim bladder. His eyes are fine. There's the hook. Look. Right in the scissors. It's only a little tiny one. That is a beautiful pollock, and that is going straight back. Good man. Let's go around and have another go at that. This is just an example of how how fickle fish can be. Because I know they're there, I've already had some stunners, and I can see they're still there on the sounder. And all I've done is I've just switched to a different shape and different colour jig. Now, what I'll do is I'll switch over now, and I'll put the other one back on. And if we catch, it just goes to show you there that it really does matter about the shape and the size. Put that little one back on now. We'll give that a try. Yep. Felt that one take it. I was letting line going out and I was watching it, watching the line at the surface slowly going down. And all of a sudden it just went. Yeah. Just goes to show you that different lure. This doesn't feel like a big fish at all. This feels like quite a small one. Yeah, I know the hook's stuck into him. If it comes off anyway, it doesn't really matter. I've had a good bit of sport playing with him. And by holding it like every 5 metres and letting him have a little dive back, it lets him get rid of any air that's in him. Another cracking fish. There's the hook. Nailed it right in the corner of the mouth, look. Right, this fish is still fully fresh. Fins are up. So I'll get the descender. Like a blue Peter moment. This is one that I made earlier. There it is. All you do is you take this piece of wire here and put it through the fish's lip. You then lower it down over the side like this. And the weight carries the fish down to the bottom. What I'm going to do here actually, I'm going to see if I can't position the boat on top of my line. Yeah, there we go. There. This fish is now down to 45 metres. I'm holding it at about 46, 48 metres. Then all I need to do is go right. So my lead is now away from the fish. I'm bringing my lead up to the boat, and you'll be able to see the fish there. I've put an annotation. I'm recording what I'm seeing. I'm going to put an annotation in here that you can see the fish coming back down to the bottom. This line is the fish being carried towards the bottom by the descender and then held at around 50 metres. This is where I jig the descender and start to bring it back towards the boat, while the fish slowly swims back down the rest of the way to the seabed. There you go. There's the descender. You can see that it's all the way. It's all the way at the bottom of it. You can see it on the sounder, and you can see it hasn't sunk because a fish of that weight wouldn't sink that fast. For some fish you can do that. Like I said, I took my time bringing that one up. He was still fresh. There wasn't any blisters. His swim bladder wasn't out, so that one could go back. The ones that are all like their eyes are like this, and yeah, those ones are. Go around one more time. What I might do actually is I might switch it up and I might try a different jig. This one is a speed jig because I know that that little white and orange one catches fish. I'm in a position now, I'm in a very fortunate position, being that I've caught the fish that I want. I've caught enough fish for me to take home for tea, so it doesn't matter too much if I don't catch another one. So what I'm up to is I'm just having a bit of fun, and at the same time I'm seeing what else I can catch them on. So this one works. I know it works. Try that one. That feels like a bit of fish, that. Does feel like there's a little bit more weight there on this one. That can be for one of two reasons. A smaller fish can feel like it's bigger and it's heavier if the hooks aren't setting it right. So if it's, say for instance, if it's hooked it under the chin or in the side of the cheek. Yeah. Also, if you're fishing with two sets of hooks, like this has got tandem, this has got twin assist hooks on it, but it shouldn't, if the hooks are a long way apart, as in one on the front of the lure and one on the back of the lure, if one hook hooks in its mouth and one hook hooks in its peck, you're bringing it up, not straight, but kind of sideways, so it feels heavier. Aha. This will show you what I mean. When this fish was at the surface then, this red hook was in its mouth and this black one was just there in its side. So it'd come up slightly sideways. You know what I was saying about sometimes a fish can feel bigger than what it is because it's coming in sideways? But yeah, what was it? Again, fins up so it's ready to go back, no blisters, no swim bladder, which is the main important thing. Right, through. You ready? Down you go. Clever for just a little piece of wire, isn't it? Oh, got you. Oh, he turned round. Good man. I think we've got chance for one more. I have put a drogue out to try and slow us down a little because we are drifting quite fast now. And I think I'll go try one more. I'm using a drogue, also called a sea anchor, that is out the front of the boat. Just give the engine a little bit of a kick astern so it inflates it all, tightens it up. And then this now, the wind should be pushing one way and the drogue should be holding us back the other. Slows the drift down. This is what I mean by twin assist hooks. Just looks like a little pilchard or a little anchovy. There you go, pouting. Drift screaming along now. Oh, and he's off, and he's off. One last drift, and then what we are going to have to do is we're going to have to try and find some bait. And we've got a long, well, that's still probably about 15 mile steam to where I want to go for the anchoring up. Let's go. For this last drift, I am going to try a different coloured lure. For this last drift, I'm going to try a different coloured lure. In fact, actually, I'm going to do it this side as well. Not a bad little drift. Not a bad direction, just hellish fast. Got ya. No, it is just an absolute teeny. Oh, this is something worth showing. That is literally just lip hooked, look. See how close that is to the end, look. Pop. That shows you exactly what I was saying. How light was that? That fish there, if I'd have pumped and whined, or if that had gone to dive and I'd have had a drag, that would have just popped itself off. That's what happened earlier on with that don't know if it was a second fish. But yeah, I had one pop off on a dive. That's right. Let's go and try and find that bait. I tell you what, this weather's kicked up out of nowhere. Might have to change what we're doing. Don't fancy steering 15 mile in this. Let's give it a go for 10 minutes. Got ya. Got ya. That's a heavy fish, that. In fact, I don't think it is a ballan wrasse. It's not fighting like one. In fact, it's fighting more like a ling. It might be a pollock, but it hasn't really done any crashing dives yet. It's just digging. But whatever it is, it's a heavy fish. It's because it's a nice pollock. Oh, I tell you what, that is a fish worth catching. To catch on a spinning rod, on a little lure, that there is a fish worth catching. That is there. I have had some absolute stunning sport today on pollock. That one there's another nice fish. That lure, look. In fact, to give you some type of an example, that's a 30-inch fish. That's a 30-inch fish. That's a cracker. And the best thing about catching them here in the reef, like that, is you can do this. See how all his fins are up? He's ready to go back straight away. Yeah, I really wasn't expecting it because it hooked up tight inside the area where I am. It's really rocky, it's really snaggy, and I was right in the bottom, right in the kelp, like grubbing around because I thought it'd be a big ballan. And usually pollock, they'll do like a that one just dug and dug and dug. But I tell you what, I absolutely don't mind catching it. But I think that'll do me for the reef. I've got some filleting to be doing. This truly is an absolute stunner of a fish. That is a fantastic fillet of fish. That is a fantastic fillet of fish. And there you go, filleted, all been V-boned, stunning. I hope you enjoyed joining us, I hope you found it interesting. All the very best, see you later.